So today we will be talking about ways of how banks will be automating processes around account opening, processing digital account opening through times of crisis. So to give you a quick introduction, Vasco has been an organization that has, OneSpan has been an organization that has existed for quite a few years, over 25 years, specialized in multi-factor authentication, digital signatures, but also ID verification. So we offer a wide range of services and end-to-end platform that covers all these different elements. So initially, the company was known as Vasco Data Security, specialized in multi-factor authentication. In 2015, we acquired a company called eSign Live, specialized in digital signatures. And in 2018, we acquired a company called Dealflow, specialized in identity verification. So all this has allowed us to offer an end-to-end platform, allowing banks to have one point of contact, one solution, one vendor, to be able to cover all these different aspects. And as you can see, quite a few of our customers are worldwide organization, and typically we've been targeting, working mostly with banks and financial organizations across the globe. And so not just banks, but also more finance organizations. And this has allowed us to get a lot of knowledge and a lot of understanding, and also a great view of how they've been processing digital accounts, credit agreements throughout the different years and in present times. So historically, banks have been working typically in a traditional manner, still having interactions in face-to-face, prioritizing communications through branch interactions. So still having people come into the branch, meet them face-to-face, create a full interaction and communication, and create trust. But with the recent events of COVID, this has changed the game. It has created a shift in the market throughout the industry. Digital transformation had already started in the past, so mostly for front-end and banking mobile services. But a lot of the communication, a lot of different elements around signatures or ID verification still remained a manual process and a face-to-face process. Now, with the limitations in being able to meet people, restrictions in being able to travel, restrictions or sometimes limitations with safety distances, moving to digital has been a priority, and there has been a total shift in the industry. More than just this, there's also been an evolution with the changes in different generations, meaning that the older generations traditionally liked having face-to-face interactions, meeting people, and even having paper documents to sign and to hold and to keep. These paper documents, typically for a bank, are high cost, as well as in storage, but also in potential mistakes when rekeying information, copying information from paper back to software. But the younger generations, they definitely want digital experience. They want mobile experience first, and a lot of them will leave or move away from any applications, any processes which are paper-based or semi-paper-based. So nowadays, a lot of banks, what we've seen is a lot of them already have a digital process in place. So to acquire their new customers, to open new bank accounts, they will already have some form of website open. They will have web forms, different applications where people can connect on, they can log in, and they can fill in the information. The problem is a lot of this will require a branch visit, because they will typically get a response where someone will contact them afterwards to come and meet them in face-to-face or take an appointment. So it's definitely a suboptimal mobile experience. It's not great, a great user experience, and for the younger generations, it's definitely a hindrance. So we have been observing across the board a lot of abandonment rates. So they've been dropping between 65 and 95%, depending on the regions and the different organizations. But typically, these customers will move away from any process which is semi-digital over to any service provider, financial organization, or bank, which can offer them a full end-to-end digital experience. So the benefits are definitely a mix in being able to cater for your needs and continue business within the times of crisis, but also there's a change in generation, a change in requirements. So it's definitely a great time right now to be able to move into digital account opening, to accelerate the process, and to start it if it hasn't already been done. So being able to have a full end-to-end process, capturing your client from the beginning, maybe having a digital marketing experience, bringing them on the website or on a mobile app, and having them pursue all the experience from one end to the other is a definite way to capture new customers, but also keep existing ones. And it's definitely a way to future-proof and protect your business in the future. So what are banks typically looking for? They're looking for a solution that's easy to use for everyone, a solution that's easy to adopt, very user-friendly, but they're also looking for a solution that's highly flexible, that can automate across use cases across the board, across the organization. They require comprehensive audit trails, which means they require a solution that will help them stay compliant to all the legal regulations in their country or in the different countries they operate in, but also a scalable platform that they can evolve from one use case or one business unit to having a potential global coverage. So this is how OneSpan can help you by having a worldwide legal recognition. Any document that is signed through OneSpan will be recognized across the world, as we use basically global digital signature standards. We have a worldwide ID verification capability. We allow banks to continue business around the clock, so a full business continuity. Our customers haven't been restricted. Anyone using this kind of solution hasn't been restricted through these difficult times. The capabilities to do remote signing on any device and on any location at any time, strong audit trails and flexible APIs. So this is what we offer. We typically respond to what the banks are looking for, to be able to have one solution that covers all their requirements across their operating regions. So they will be looking at applying these solutions in different use cases in different parts of their business, but typically we can break it down as having digitizing processes everywhere around internal use cases, so B2E, B2B use cases as well, but also B2C use cases where these will definitely be the highest volumes, the ones where there are the most value and where they will get the biggest ROI. So typically B2C is where banks will look at automating and digitizing processes first. What we've seen with most banks is, if we drill down a little bit more, they will look at all use cases around lending, around treasury management, credit cards, commercial lending, mortgages, everyday banking. So it's really being able to cover all the use cases and processes where there are paper-based applications and processes that need some form of ID verification or document verification, and e-signatures as well. So and being able to put all this through one digital process and move away from any paper-based process. So all this, banks are looking will automate all these, but on top of that, being able to digitize all these processes allows them to have a full tracking and audit trail for every single process and every single action. So they are able to track who has done what at what time for every single process, every time a document is signed, every time an ID is verified. So it actually gives them a lot more information, a lot more data to stay in compliance than any paper-based or traditional manual process. So some of our top 5 banking customers actually, all of them put together, are able to manage over 12 million new account openings every year. So this means all the documents that need to be signed, all the IDs that have to be verified across multiple geographies. So it's definitely something that has been building in different organizations, different regions across the world, and continues to go from strength to strength across different continents. They will deploy these kind of solutions in 2 ways. So both in branch and remotely. So it's not restricted to only a remote usage. So even in these times, these difficult times for people to travel around to meet face to face, having these digital applications, these digital ID verification processes, even in branch, will be of use. Typically, a customer can come in, apply for a loan or a new account they want to open, and they can do it from a tablet. The tablet has a camera. You can capture a photo of the ID, verify it through the platform digitally, capture all the information from the ID, but also invite afterwards the customer to sign digitally. So the whole process can take place in a streamlined manner with no breakage, no manual intervention. And it allows people to keep in certain regions or in certain businesses or organizations to keep certain healthy safety distances. But more than that, it also allows the bank to reduce any errors, any mistakes. It allows the bank to speed up processes, give a stronger user experience. And in a remote manner, it allows them to be able to capture new customers from any location in any conditions. And people can just connect from their mobile phone and sign automatically documents. So different use cases that they can come across will be typically, a bank will have two kinds of customers: a known customer, so a known applicant, someone they already know, which is in their organization, in their database, they've already got information. In this case, only an authentication will be sufficient to then allow access to signing any documents and pursue any agreements. In the second case, an unknown applicant, someone who is coming for a new mortgage, a new credit agreement, or opening a brand new bank account, this person will require some form of ID verification and document verification. So our platform is flexible between both and can cover all the requirements a bank will come across. But further than that, just to ensure that all the data from whether it's the customers, whether it's the agreements that have been signed remain safe, safety and security is something that's extremely important. It's important across all organizations. Our business is specialized in security, and so we make sure to comply to all the legal and international standards. Most importantly, SOC 2 compliance, to make sure that we have the highest levels of data protection. Regarding the kinds of signatures that we propose and that banks will be looking for, typically they'll be looking for basic e-signatures to cover internal use cases, advanced e-signatures to be able to cover generic, usual B2B or B2C use cases, and qualified e-signatures for certain B2C use cases and typically legal documents that need to be signed. These different signatures will be recognized worldwide, and it will ensure that any document that can be signed will be recognized in any court of law in any nation. And of course, multiple different strong authentication methods are available, as well as global data centers, to ensure there is a global coverage of data residency. So if we look at the solution itself and what banks will be looking for in their process and how it will help them, typically ID verification will be the first step of any onboarding. The challenge for banks is definitely to be able to capture the ID, verify that the ID is real. In the distance process, it can be we ask people to send a scan, to send a photocopy, or even a picture that will be emailed. But you still want to ensure that the person that is sending the copy is actually the owner of the ID. So these are elements that need to be verified. So this is why we have an element of facial comparison, but also a one-time password. And then these different steps of ID verification, facial comparison, and then one-time password will allow to create a rating and a validation or a rejection to then grant access to the document or documents that need to be signed. So we allow banks to build workflows as they want and add and remove different options from the core base, have a full white labeling of the solution to ensure that their customers have the best experience possible and they actually just get the look and feel of their bank and a trusted provider. And more than that, have a strong audit trail and a one-to-many API. So what I mean by one-to-many API is basically we've got one vendor with one set of SLAs and one set of APIs who allow the bank to be able to manage and the e-signature and the authentication and the ID verification, but also manage multiple different ID providers. In case one ID provider is not capable of covering a certain region, a certain part of the globe, there is a second ID provider that kicks in, and OneSpan is managing all these relationships. So it's really one center point that allows you to manage all the different elements and all the components around I'd say, the first part of the onboarding process during a new account opening. So just to show you a little bit more about how our solution works, I'll actually show you from a user perspective what kind of experience they go through. So what I will show you right now, at the moment you can see I'm on my mobile phone and I'm connecting into my Outlook. I'm opening an email. So any customer will receive an email or from a mobile app directly, either a link, either an invitation to connect onto either a mobile app or a website. In this case, once I click on the email link, I will get access to our portal. So OneSpan portal that allows you to read some terms and conditions with different elements that can be, of course, entirely customized. All the experience is, of course, mobile optimized. And from this point, you can select different elements, different documents, ID card, passports. The list can be longer if there are more elements that need to be verified within your process, or a lot shorter if, let's say, maybe there is just the need for a driver's license or a passport. So our solution will then ask you to take a picture of your ID card. So from here, we will be capturing all the data on the document itself. In the background, our solution will be verifying if the information is readable, if there are any glares, if it's of good quality or not. If it's of good quality, the photo will be validated, and then all the information will be extracted and verified in the background. So right now, our system has confirmed that the quality of the photo is sufficient. So we move on to the step of facial verification. So the aim of having a facial verification is really to be able to confirm that the document that is being provided is indeed belonging to the person that is presenting this document. So this is the first step of the verification, and then we have a second step, which is a liveness detection. And the liveness detection, its aim is to confirm that the selfie we are taking is indeed of a live person and not a potential photo that is presented. So right now we're moving into the selfie, where our system will be starting a facial detection. So the element of facial comparison with the passport photo, our system through AI will be taking different facial biometric points to compare the different photos and ensure they are the same and corresponding. And on the final part, now there is our system asked to smile to ensure that the person presenting is live. And all this is basically ensuring from a distance what was typically done within a branch. From a distance, you can verify the identity of the document, of the individual, their document, potentially their address, and a lot of other elements, but also ensure that who is presenting is who they say they are, and ensure that they are a live person. In the background, all this information can be extracted and sent for other tasks.
Yeah. Right. We have to move on to the next session, Nicolas. So if you can finalize the demo.
I'll finalize very quickly.
Yes. Yeah.
So basically now the system has been granted access. The individual, he can give his consent, click consent, and afterwards, once he gives his consent, he will be invited to digitally sign a document, and he can apply his signature, and the process is completed. And once the process is completed, all this can trigger the provisioning of the account within the bank and any other activities that need to take place. So it's really made to streamline and accelerate processes from one unique platform.